My boyfriend's friends joke about raping me because I'm blind and say I wouldn't even know it was them. He doesn't see the problem. Posted by you/throw r a blind. The formatting might be weird because I'm typing the whole text myself and not using any speech-to-text functions. I'll try my best to avoid a wall of text. So my boyfriend 31M and I 24F have been dating for 3 years now. We live in an apartment together, and we're having the wonderful luck. That's sarcasm, by the way, of having my boyfriend's two best friends, 32M and 35M, as our neighbors. They live right across from us, which is a huge issue because they come over literally every day, and it almost feels like I'm living in my apartment with 3 guys instead of just one. Sometimes they come over when my boyfriend isn't even home and start engaging me in the most random and weirdest conversations. And sometimes these conversations are really disgusting. Here's an example. A few days ago, I was at home, and my boyfriend was at work. As always, 32M and 35M decided to come over without bothering to tell me beforehand that they were coming over. The conversation was really unsettling this time. They started talking about how easy it could be to rape me because, according to them, they could just walk in pretending to be my boyfriend and I wouldn't know it was them. This freaked me out a little bit because this is my exact issue. Whenever the door to my apartment opens, I always assume it's my boyfriend, but sometimes it's them instead. However, as soon as they open their stupid mouth, I know for sure that it's them and not my boyfriend. As if this whole, I could rape you and you wouldn't know it was me, thing wasn't enough. They said that if I got pregnant by one of them, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't be able to see that my child would look like one of them instead of my boyfriend. I just sat there and thought what the F goes on in their brains. I'm used to people not knowing how to act in front of me because of my blindness, but my boyfriend's friends' conversations aren't just uncomfortable or awkward, they're terrifying. I don't think they would ever touch me against my will, but conversations like this are incredibly unsettling, and I wish they would stop talking about me like that. I haven't told my boyfriend about this exact situation, but I told him that his friends make me uncomfortable. I'm afraid that my boyfriend won't believe me when I tell him about this conversation, because it's just so absurd. I'm almost 100% sure that if I do tell my boyfriend about his friend's behavior towards me, it will result in a 1 versus 2 situation. His friends will most likely deny anything I say, and then it will be 2 statements, them, against 1, me. Just for clarification, my boyfriend knows that his best friends come over even when he's not at home, but he doesn't see it as a problem. What should I do? I'd be thankful for any advice. Edit. There are tons of people asking me how I was able to type this even though I'm blind. I've explained it several times in the comments already, but people keep commenting about it, and I'm getting tired of explaining the same thing over and over again. There is a YouTube video called How I Use Technology as a Blind Person by a woman called Molly Burke. Feel free to watch or listen to this video. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Can you record that shit? Also, how do they go into the apartment? I think you can absolutely tell your boyfriend that you're not okay with them coming in when he's not around. Op response. I'll definitely try to record it next time. They have a key for the apartment, and we actually have one for their apartment as well, but it was supposed to be only used in emergency situations. Commenter 2. I haven't told my boyfriend about this exact situation, but I told him that his friends make me uncomfortable. Tell your boyfriend about the conversation in detail, and tell him that his friends are no longer welcome, especially if he's not around. I'm afraid that my boyfriend won't believe me when I tell him about this conversation, because it's just so absurd. Op. Most women your BF's age would have never put up with this sort of behavior in the first place. Just popping in whenever, simply nope. If your boyfriend doesn't believe you or takes his friend's site, break it up, get out. But he doesn't see it as a problem. They have their own home. Why do they need to come over when it's just you? Why don't you deserve private time? Start locking the door, take their keys away, or replace the lock. Commenter 3. Please lock your door. If they have a key, insist on having the lock changed and do not give them a copy. Tell your boyfriend that if they come into your place again, you're moving out. This is bullshit. If your boyfriend supports his friends over you, then you don't want him for a boyfriend. That's not how someone in a committed relationship should act. You should be the most important thing in the world to him. Update. This is actually a repost of my update. I posted this only a few days after my original post, but I must have somehow deleted it because it doesn't show up on my profile anymore. I'm very sorry about that. Using technology as a blind person doesn't always go smoothly. But at least I was able to find the saved copy of my update on my laptop, before anyone asks again. Yes, blind people are able to use computers and phones. The amount of people that think that I'm lying about being blind because I'm able to use a computer, a phone, and Reddit is sickening. If you are interested to see how blind people use technology, watch the video, How I Use Technology as a Blind Person, by Molly Burke on YouTube. This will hopefully answer your questions. A lot of people in the comments have pointed out the urgency of the situation and told me to immediately tell my boyfriend about his friend's behavior. My boyfriend came home around 5 hours after I made that post, and I was planning on telling him everything. But he was in an incredibly bad mood and just wanted to go to bed, so I didn't do it. To be honest, at this point I still didn't fully realize the urgency of the situation, even though so many people pointed it out. The next day, my boyfriend went to work again, and I decided to wait for him at home because I didn't have the possibility to go anywhere else. But I contacted my parents and told them about my situation. That way, at least someone would know about me if something bad happened. This time, when 32M and 35M came into my apartment, the door was locked. They have a key. I wasn't just uncomfortable with them being there, I was in fact on the verge of having a panic attack. They must have noticed that because they did some disgusting things to me while behaving as if this whole thing was funny. They did not rape me, but what they did wasn't okay. I started screaming, which kind of scared off 35M and M32, and luckily an elderly lady from the floor above heard me screaming. I swear, this lady was my guardian angel. She didn't force me to explain anything and just took me to her apartment. She was comforting me for nearly 2 hours, during which I couldn't stop bawling my eyes out. Perhaps this is life's way of telling me to stop being so naive. My dad always told me, better safe than sorry. From now on, I will definitely follow this advice. I will never wait for things to escalate like this again. When my boyfriend came home, I was finally able to tell him about everything. I've never witnessed him being so angry. He genuinely thought that his friends were helping me out when he was at work, and he apologized for not taking me seriously when I told him that his friends make me uncomfortable. Of course, things couldn't just end here. My boyfriend was so angry that he decided to go over to his friend's apartment. There was lots of yelling, and it resulted in a physical fight. My boyfriend seems to have no injuries, though. Shortly after, my boyfriend took some time off work, packed our bags, and drove us to my parents' house. We are currently trying to find a new apartment, but it will take some time to find one that is suitable for a blind person. Thank you so much for all of the comments on my original post and all of the private messages. I couldn't answer all of them, but please know that I appreciate every single comment and message. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Never underestimate the power of old German ladies coming to the rescue. When I was a small child, I got locked out of my Opa's apartment, and his neighbor brought me into her apartment and fed me cookies until my mother came back. I remember your old post, and I'm very glad you're all right. Please consider a police report on these men as well. Commenter 2. Please report the friends to the police. For threatening to rape you, and for assault, it sounds like something happened, as well as home invasion. The police could easily tack on conspiracy charges since the two of them planned this in advance. 7. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year and a half. There have been a few times when he's blown up on me over the smallest things. Usually, he gets angry and makes it everyone in the house's problem. When I finally stood up for myself, he hurt me in one of the most painful ways possible. I don't know if I should forgive him or if the blame is on me. My grandmother died of lung cancer when I was 12. She was the toughest and most hilarious little old lady, and I miss her every day. Everything my grandmother intended to give us after she passed was taken by one of her sisters before we could get to her house. By the time my mom was finally able to get there, very little remained. Among the few items left was a beautiful white jewelry box that could sit on a counter. My mother gave it to me after seeing how drawn I was to it. That jewelry box was the only thing I had left of my grandmother. When I moved out of state to live with my dad as a teenager, it was one of the few things I refused to leave behind. A couple of days ago, I wanted to get my hair done but was indecisive, so I asked my boyfriend what he thought. I gave him a couple of color choices I was considering, jet black or a random shade of red. He told me he preferred black over red. I took his thoughts into consideration, but ultimately decided to go with the red. As soon as he saw me earlier today after my appointment, he was furious, saying I never listened to him and that he was so repulsed by me he couldn't even sleep with me until I changed it. He called me several expletives. I decided to go lie down and rest before my shift that night. Ignoring him didn't diffuse the situation at all. He started grabbing everything that was mine from our shared bedroom and throwing it down the hallway. He kept saying I was in the way and told me to get up and sleep on the couch. He's done this several times before, and every time he waits until I break down and apologize before I'm allowed to move my things back into our room. This can last anywhere from a few hours to a few weeks. However long it lasts, he makes sure my life is a living hell the entire time, yelling at me, belittling me, and telling me what a terrible person I am. This time, I was over it. I was too exhausted to play his game, so I just lay in bed, trying to drown out the vile things spewing from his mouth. When he saw he wasn't getting a reaction, he started breaking things and tearing up my drawings. Before destroying each item, he kept saying all I had to do was get my things out of his room and get my ugly ass out. When I still refused, he grabbed my jewelry box and held it over his head. As soon as I realized what he was about to do, I became frantic. I started sobbing and begging him to stop. I was so loud that his mom heard me from her bedroom on the other side of the house and came to see what was going on. She tried to reason with him, but he was enraged. He just kept shouting, "Get the fuck out now." After about 30 seconds of chaos, he slammed my jewelry box onto the floor. I was speechless. I began to sob, but no sound came out. His mom looked at me and told me to go sleep in her room and lock the door. As soon as I left, I heard her unleashing on him. I am positive I heard her slap him hard. I just took my blanket and did as I was told. Eventually, I managed to fall asleep. When I woke up, both my boyfriend and his mom were gone. I didn't have time to question it because I had to go to work. I'm currently on my lunch break and still haven't heard from either of them. I guess I'll have to figure out what's going on when I get off tomorrow morning. I think it might be my fault he broke it, because all I had to do was get out of the room. My stubbornness destroyed one of my most treasured possessions. I feel like an idiot, and I don't even know if there's a way to repair it. I'm just so heartbroken, and I needed to vent. Relevant comments. Op responds to multiple comments about her boyfriend's mother knowing he was wrong for doing this to her. Op response: "You are at least partially right. His mother had her first daughter at 14, and by the time she was 17, she gained custody of her older sister's kids. She was the guardian for 6 kids before she could legally drink. She has told me some of the horrific things she did as punishment because she didn't know another way to raise kids. His mom and I have had conversations talking about what might be wrong with him neurologically. She always brings up how his personality drastically shifted after his scalp was torn off by a dog when he was 7. After the incident, he would screech at the top of his lungs when he didn't get what he wanted, especially when his older sister babysat him. She would get tired of the yelling and would lock him outside. They lived deep in the woods, nowhere near any other houses or active roads. He would run around the entire house, banging on the doors and windows until she broke and let him inside. If she didn't just give in, he would pull the AC units out of the windows and crawl in, only to terrorize her some more. I think there are several factors that contributed to who he became. He really needs to get some professional help. Commenter 1. After how long hearing him pull the same shit over and over? Why did she decide now was the time to say, "Hey, I did a shit job raising my son, and I should try and fix the thing he has become," and not the first time he threw all Op stuff in the hallway? Op response: "My boyfriend is a force to be reckoned with, especially when he is angry. His eyes change color to black when he reaches a certain point. He has this mentality that no one is gonna stand in his way to get what he wants. She keeps kicking him out, but she always lets him back in." Commenter 2. And when his mother tells you to lock yourself in a room, she knows exactly what he is like. She probably knows because his father was probably abusive too. Op response: "If anyone, it was most likely his mom that abused him. I don't know how anyone with a child like him would be able to handle it. She is a very short woman, probably not over 5 feet, that didn't stop her from disciplining him. However, she went overboard a few times though. I saw her climb into her younger son's lap and punch his face with a balled fist. His dad was much older than his mom. Unfortunately, he died soon after we started dating. I didn't get the chance to know him very well. Everyone I have talked to said that his dad would have never raised his hand to any of his children." Commenter 3. You didn't mention age, but I'm assuming you are young since he said his room and not his house. Can you go back home? His mom sounds like a good person, but it's his mom, so at the end of the day she will pick her son. He wanted you to react and picked your most prized possession to destroy. He is abusive and it will only continue if you stay. If you stay, he will know he can destroy anything and you will take him back. Don't fall for any apologies. Op response: "We are both 19. My family lives a few states away, so getting to them will not be easy. I have been living with him since my junior year and his senior year in high school. He purposefully failed so that we could graduate together. I will never forget the morning of graduation. His mom tried to wake him up and he blew up on her. He cussed her out, told her he didn't give a shit about her, and refused to get up until 5 minutes before we had to leave. He made the way he woke up everyone else's problem. His mom looked at me with tears in her eyes and said I needed to leave him because he is never going to be the man I deserve. 2 days later. This is an update to a post I made a couple of days ago. After I got off my shift that morning, my boyfriend was sitting on the front porch waiting for me. As soon as I opened the door and got out, he approached me and kept telling me how sorry he was. I was still very angry and hurt, so I didn't say much. When I walked inside, he led me to our room. It was spotless, the cleanest I think I've ever seen it. He showed me that he had tried to put the jewelry box back together. I know he did his best, but there were pieces missing, and the glass from the doors was shattered. I just looked at him and said, "Thank you." I didn't complain or say anything else because I knew what would happen if I did. Apparently, though, I wasn't enthusiastic enough because he got annoyed almost immediately. He started calling me ungrateful. I told him that he couldn't undo what he did, and that's when he became irate. His mom was at work, so I didn't really have any backup, but his little sister was home. After he started yelling, he grabbed my jewelry box again and took it outside, shouting that I was ungrateful and didn't deserve him. His 6-year-old little sister heard us yelling and followed me outside. We both watched as he threw the jewelry box onto the concrete, smashing it worse than before, and then picked up several pieces and put them in his pocket. I started crying again and fell to my knees beside the remnants. His little sister came over to comfort me and told me that she loves me more than she loves him, that her big brother was really mean. I told her that I loved her too, but she shouldn't say things like that, especially while he could still be listening. She nodded and helped me pick up the shards of wood and glass. I told him I wanted to leave. At first, he called my bluff and said, "Fine, leave then." But when I texted my dad that I needed him to come get me and he realized what I'd done, he lost it. He started crying uncontrollably, took my phone, and texted my dad back pretending to be me saying it was all a misunderstanding, that everything was okay, and that we'd worked it out. After that, he spent probably 4 hours talking to me, telling me he was going to be better, that he was sorry, but also pointing out all the things I do that are wrong or shitty. I think tonight was the first time I really looked at him and knew that this is going to be over. I don't know when or how yet, but I know this is not going to be the rest of my life. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, with all due respect, what are you waiting for? Op response. For a long time I would have said, because I love him, now I'm just scared. My dog is big pregnant, and he's already threatened hurting her if I did something. I don't want to leave her and her babies with him. Also, he said he would kill me if I ever left or cheated on him during our arguments. Commenter 2, is your dog worth dying over? Yes, it would be devastating if he hurt them, but would you sacrifice your own life to keep them safe? Make no mistake, you are in a life and death situation. You're still in danger even with leaving, but if you stay he'll kill you, and if he doesn't, it won't be for lack of trying. Op response. Yes, I would risk my life for hers. She has been my best friend for years. I won't let anything happen to her. Period. Commenter 3, you are putting her at risk for not leaving and taking her with you to safety immediately. Do you want to see the puppies smashed onto the pavement as well? Op response. I'm trying. It's not easy to do this without him knowing. F and boyfriend 27M have been together since our 3rd year in university. Once we both graduated, my boyfriend got a job across the country, Anaheim, and I followed him. This weekend is my little sister's 24F wedding. My sister and I have always gotten along. It was really hard on both of us when I moved so far away, and we keep in contact literally every day. She and my BF never really had any sort of a friendship simply due to the fact that they never spent much time together. The first couple days we spent at my parents' place, everything was normal. We landed around noon and spent the day with my family. My sister was running around meeting with caterers and stuff, so she didn't get home until later in the evening. We said our usual hellos, caught up, and then headed to bed. Monday morning is when things felt weird. I noticed immediately at breakfast my boyfriend and sister were much more talkative with each other than usual. I also noticed him giving her these weird looks, and my sister smiling, smirking, back. I didn't think too much of it, but then after lunch they announced they would be going to meet the wedding planner. The planner was in Brooklyn, and my boyfriend said wanted to check out a used game store there, so he was going to tag along. Okay, cool. But when they got back, about 45 minutes later he smelled like her perfume. Which isn't a huge deal because her car reeks of it, and it could have just stuck on him I guess, but it was still weird. The next night I woke up around 2 a.m., and I noticed my boyfriend was not in bed. I waited a couple minutes, and when he didn't come back I got up to look for him. Right as I opened my room door he was getting ready to walk back inside. He looked shocked to see me, and when I asked where he was, he gave me mumbling answer about throwing something in the garbage. I noticed again he smelt like my sister's perfume, but I didn't say anything. He brushed past me to the bathroom located in our room and turned on the tap. I heard him washing his face and brushing his teeth. So today, Wednesday, I noticed my BF and sister weren't going near each other. As much as they'd been getting along the last few days, they were keeping their distance. I asked both of them separately if everything is okay, and both assured me everything was fine. Even asking, "Why are you asking if I'm okay?" When we went to bed tonight, I decided to pretend to sleep and see what my BF did. Around 11:30, he called my name a couple times, to which I did not respond. I then heard him get up and creep out of bed. I waited until he was outside the door and then followed him. I saw him walk into the bathroom across the hall. I waited in my doorway for a minute, and then I saw my sister come out of her room and walk into the same washroom. I have no idea what to do. Do I go to my sister's fiancé, my parents, confront them? I am currently hiding in the living room, and it has been about 2 hours since this happened. My boyfriend has not come looking for me yet. TL, doctor. My boyfriend and I are staying with my family. Saw him and my engaged sister in a compromising position when they walked into a bathroom together. They don't know I caught them, no clue how to proceed. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, you have to confront them. It is going to be hard, but you need to know what is going on, and so does her fiancé. Commenter 2, wow. You need to go to that bathroom right now and openly bust them. Seriously, 2 hours? Go bust in that door. Op updated the post the next day. Edit, so we have this little stair landing area with a couch. You can see the upstairs hallway pretty clearly. I was sitting there with my phone and a blanket when my sister walked out of her room and into the bathroom. About 3 minutes later, my BF walked in. The bathroom locks are the type you can unlock with the turn of a coin. I stood outside for literally 10 minutes and I heard almost nothing, just some shuffling here and there. So I opened the door quietly, and I see my sister on the bathroom counter looking at something on her phone. My boyfriend has half his body out the bathroom window. My sister jumped off the counter and said my name, and my boyfriend pulled his head back. He had a pipe in his hand. It turns out they've been sneaking around because they've been weed buddies the last couple days. I had no clue they were smoking together, or that my sister smoked at all. The first night we were here, he was going downstairs to get a glass of water and smelled the pot when he walked past her bathroom. He asked her about it the next day, and that's when they started to smoke together. He smelled like her perfume because they wanted to spray something to get the pot smell off them. That's why he washed his face and brushed his teeth when he came back into the room last night, so I wouldn't smell the weed on him. They was being so sneaky about it because little sis was unsure that I would approve about of her marijuana habit. I don't care at all. I knew my BF is a casual smoker since the day we met. Very relieved to say the least. Thank you all for your help. I feel like a complete idiot. Sorry for wasting your time. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. It's funny because when you said her car reeks of her perfume, I thought, she probably gets high in there. Commenter 2. I feel really good about the fact that when I was reading through it, I thought to myself, it sounds like they might be sneaking smoke breaks. Yay for not jumping straight to infidelity, brain. Commenter 3. The whole time I was reading this, I was thinking this is textbook smoker behavior. Then I read the last edit. Ha 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 ha.
I was contacted by the police in a province I am not from. I'm Canadian, informing me that my DNA has been found to be connected to the victim of a very old cold case in Canada. Not exactly how I thought my day was going to go at all, but very interesting. When speaking with the detective, I was informed of the individual's presumed heritage, and which side of my family the link was made from. But the catch, my grandma knew very minimal about her father, and a relative of mine has been working on a family tree for years but struggled. So here I am, with nothing to go off of, no idea where to begin, and in 24 hours I've now learned that that entire side of my family was extremely well documented with multiple records of our entire ancestry, tracing all the way back to 1500. Turns out we have been living with a completely unnecessary mystery all of these years regarding our history. So how far back on this family tree should I be handing over? Who should I include? Any help would be appreciated. Relevant comments. Op comment. I feel this is generating an overall sense of healing in my family. My grandmother knows next to nothing about her father and his family, and I've now seen her move to tears with new discoveries several times in the last 36 hours. Knowing you belong somewhere, aren't alone, and have family that shared common traits with you somewhere, sometime, is so healing for her. I hope that we are able to find this Jane Doe's name. We have one person on the tree that we actually think it may be as of this morning. It will be one of the great achievements of my life as well. Commenter 1. Hello, I am a Canadian forensic genealogist working in Toronto. Your case isn't one of ours, but thank you for being willing to help out with it. Sometimes we do get stuck with the matches, often either too distant, or not enough matches. and have to reach out to potential relatives in order to get closer and narrow down the tree some more, or to fill in more info about a family branch we are really stuck on. Many people we've contacted have helped pull the case together. We only use GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA to see matches to the DOE kits, although the tree building part is done on Ancestry. If anyone in the comments here wants to help out with DOE cases, please upload to these two sites. We don't ever handle anyone's DNA file or results. We only see if there's a match or not. If you or anyone has any questions about the process or any questions about IGG in general, please don't hesitate to ask. Commenter 2. I do forensic genealogy for cold cases, and we look at public genealogy databases such as GEDCOM for any matches to the suspect DNA. We then trace that match's DNA back to the estimated grandparents. Then the same with each match to triangulate the common ancestor, then we work forward from there. It's a reverse process than regular genealogy where you and the names you know and work backwards. Op asks in a comment, how can my family tree be of use to the investigation? What can I do as a seemingly random ancestor to be useful? The detective shared with me that the other matches, there weren't many, haven't been willing to help them, but I'd like to give them all I can. Commenter reply, you share at least some DNA with the subject, which means you share a common grandparent. It could be generations back, which means they are building a tree of all the descendants of that grandparent to get a list of potential possibilities of an even closer match. Commenter 3. I would think they are looking for more of your family to test in order to be more confident about how closely related this lady is to you, and also which branchees she's related to. They're probably hoping your cousins on other platforms will transfer their DNA tests to GEDmatch to help their investigation. Op response. My grandmother is alive and willing to test. Othram wanted one generation above me, so police will be sending us consumer kits for my mother and grandmother. Her siblings are alive, but likely unwilling, and my cousins are uploading their data to GEDmatch now. Commenter 4. Othram is a one-of-a-kind lab in the US doing amazing work to help identify victims and or their killers using genetic genealogy. There is a TV show called Genetic Detectives with Nancy Grace, where they talk about Othram and GEDmatch, used for this type of investigative work, as you have to opt into your DNA being used in a lot of their episodes. Othram Labs also started DNA Solves, which is like a GoFundMe or Kickstarter, that you can donate funds to help police departments raise funding to pay for the DNA tests to solve these cold cases. Update 1, 10 months later, many people thought I was being scammed, and a shocking amount of people guessed correctly with very little information. Through forensic genealogy, the Saskatoon woman in the well was given her name back. Her name is Alice Spence. Saskatoon Police News Conference. Saskatoon Police identify century-old remains of woman in the well, found in 2006. 100-year-old Saskatoon mystery solved. Woman in the well, identified as Alice Spence. Relevant comments. Which service did you use? I'd love for my DNA to be used to help a cold case, if there are any, but not sure which services allow law enforcement use in Canada. Commenter 1. If you test with Ancestry, which has the largest number of users, you can download your results and then upload to GEDmatch, where you can indicate that you want to share with law enforcement. You should check their site to see how it works in Canada. Commenter 2. I was one of the investigative genetic genealogists on this case. Thank you for being willing to help with it. Alice Spence is now the oldest DOE case in Canada to have been solved with IGG. Is super rich and never hesitates to throw gobs of money at whatever problem she has. He also hates my guts. That's just to say that I'm sure he will pay for the best attorneys money can buy. I need someone who is good but can fight hard relatively cheaply. Does anyone have a recommendation? Update 1. A while back I asked for advice on a good divorce attorney in another sub. Someone said, you don't have to hire the best or most expensive attorney. You need to consult with the top family attorneys in town. The lawyer cannot represent your ex-to-be if you've discussed your marriage with them. It's a conflict of interest. Read up on it. There are a few tricks you can pull to help even the playing field based on the advice I spent the next few weeks talking with like 30 divorce attorneys in town, so that my wife and her dad would not be able to hire one. I never hired an attorney myself because I could not afford one, but my wife found one anyway. Apparently they found out what I did, probably because it was so hard for her to get an attorney, and today I just got hit with a motion for attorney's fees saying that what I did was abuse of process, an attempt to deprive and interfere with justice, bad faith, and a bunch of other stuff, and that I have to pay part of her attorney fees because I made it more expensive for her. Is there something I can do to stop this? This is in Utah. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Why in the hell would you listen to some internet commenter? For shit's sake, you shouldn't even listen to me without independently verifying your information with an actual attorney. You're literally up shit's creek without a paddle on this one, my friend. But see an attorney in your area who will know more about your particular locality's rules and can probably help you soften the blow. Edit. And that person's comment wasn't even accurate. Commenter 2. Wow, you sound like my soon-to-be ex-uncle. He did the same thing and was also hit with a similar motion. Talk to your attorney if you can remember which one actually represents you, and ask if there's anything they can do. Other than that, I have no advice for you. Update 2. After reading almost 1,000 DM and messages calling me an asshole and evil person, I don't know anymore if I am or not. I think I agree with them. When every lawyer with a blog uses you as a bad example to get more clients, and the whole world is laughing at you. I even had the media try to interview me. I screwed up any chances of ever going to law school and probably getting any significant custody over my kids, and I am financially ruined. As much as I would like to blame other people, and did for a few days, I can't anymore. What I did was wrong, and it was me who did it. Why did I do that? The crazy thing is I never would have even considered doing something like it when I was TBM. But I got exited, and it felt like everyone in the sub was on board. I thought that leaving TSCC would make me a better person, but if I am honest with myself, I have to admit that I am a worse person. Because it's not just this, it is other stuff too. Is it the same for anyone else? Does anyone else think that they have become a worse person since leaving? I don't believe there is a God, but I don't know what to do. I sure as hell can't run my own life, as everything I have done lately has just fucked it up. I just don't know where to turn to or what to do. Relevant comment. Commenter 1, man, I'm sorry. You really screwed up. You've lost a hell of a lot of ground. I don't know what else to tell you but to try to take stock of what you've got going for you. Don't give up on things prematurely, at least try first. Don't drink. Maybe socially with people. But if you start down the road to drinking 4+ nights a week at home because you've got nothing better to do, and when you're not drinking it just feels like the whole world is weighing down on you, it's a ridiculously difficult habit to break out of. And that's when your life isn't actually all that shitty like mine. If you have actual woes, I can't even imagine. Commenter 2. I was told by a law professor that as far as divorce is concerned, there are rarely reasonable people. People do crazy things when divorce is afoot. You did something stupid, but it doesn't mean you are uniquely bad. You are a normal person in a very hard and emotional situation, and you did something stupid. Try to get over it. You have years left on your life. This will pass. Move on and find something worth being happy about. You aren't any different than millions of normal people. Commenter 3. There was a thing on Reddit a while back where someone was getting a divorce, and someone recommended that they go to every lawyer in town for a consultation. The reason is that legally the lawyers could not take his soon-to-be ex-wife's case if he had already gone to them for advice or something. It ended very poorly for him. Op response. I'm not here to defend myself. I acknowledge that what I did was wrong and very stupid, but I was summoned to this thread, and I can't help but correct misinformation when I see it. I was not advised to just talk to one lawyer. Multiple people in that thread told me I should talk to a bunch of attorneys, and I did not consult with every lawyer in town. That would be literally hundreds or thousands of lawyers. Update 3. While this is still coming up, I hired a lawyer who wrote an opposition paper to their motion for fees. We had a hearing. The judge denied their motion. He said that she suffered no harm because she was able to find a good lawyer. He scolded me for trying that stunt, but he also scolded her lawyer for filing a motion which the judge called meritless, and no more than a transparent attempt to make me look bad. We reached a divorce agreement over custody, and whatnot a little after that, which both of us were okay with. I now have a great relationship with my kids, and even have a good co-parenting relationship with my ex-wife. I am in a very different and much better place now than I was when I did that stupid and awful thing. I no longer would take legal advice from the internet, and I would not take any advice from /ex-Mormon. I'm sorry for what I did, and for even having the mindset of wanting to screw over another human being. Married to the most amazing woman 6 years ago. We had been dating for 2 years before we got married. She got pregnant after graduating from college. We were both happy. This is what we had wanted. Our son was born. Life was awesome. 10 months after his birth, while on a trip to get some stuff for the house, her car collided with 2 others. Nothing could be done. Her ribs broke inwards, her lungs were crushed. She died by the time the ambulance came. Life was a bitch. Suddenly the whole world had collapsed on me. I was in shock. The therapy didn't help. The only thing that kept me going was my son. He was barely 10 months old, but he lived. I forgot about everything else in life and functioned just as a father. I didn't go out. I ignored my friends, killed my social life altogether. Still, I was proud of what I had accomplished as a single father. Sure, there were a few scares here and there, but overall it was great. My son was healthy and happy. Money was never a problem for me. It still hurt like a bitch inside. I literally felt no temptation to meet anybody else. I was still recovering from it all, I guess. Then I started going out a little. My sister offered to take care of my son. She was great with him, so I felt comfortable. I got back in touch with my friends. I still retained my good physique. There wasn't much to do at home, so I'd just work out. I had started taking care of myself, too. I got used a little to the female attention. After blowing off the initial 4 and 5 dates, I know it's bad, but I just couldn't go ahead with them then. I started meeting other women. I just have casual dates with these women, but I turned them down before anything physical happened. It took me a long time to even kiss a girl again. On this cycle, I met Natalie, random alias here. She was an exceptionally beautiful girl who worked in my industry, loved that I was a single father and sympathized with my loss. She was a great person and had an awesome personality. I found something special about her, so I stuck with her. It took us almost a month to have sex, but she was very patient with me. I had told her up front that meeting my son is not something that is happening very soon. She understood. We had a great relationship. She complained a few times about me spending a lot of time with my son and barely enough with her, but we made it work after talking about the issue. She only met my son for the first time 2 months ago. I brought her along when we were at the park. She said hi and he just looked up and sorta laughed. He's 4 and he's able to articulate properly, at least small words and greetings, so I told him to say hello. He said that and then the attention was back to the racket and the ball. She was clearly liked him. I know she wasn't feigning interest because even when I went a bit away and was busy with something else, she was trying to play with him and interact with him a lot. That was supposed to be a happy moment, but seeing him with her reminded me of my wife and it hurt like a bitch again. But I got over it. So I gradually increased their time together. We still met outside most of the time and not that much inside. We spent the daytime at her place and late night she would come over to mine when my son was asleep. After a point I felt a little comfortable leaving them alone together. So this week my sister was visiting in town. My son absolutely adores her. She was his first female contact. I had to leave, take an overnight flight to get some work stuff sorted out, so she stayed at my place. Natalie calls me in the morning and tells me that she wants to visit my son. She's been visiting him a lot, so I think it's okay. When I come back, this is what my sister worriedly tells me. Natalie came around in the morning. She spent around an hour with my son and my sister. They're good friends and get along very well. So my sister got up to make something for them and went into the kitchen, while Natalie and my son were in the living room. He was on the floor playing with his toys, I guess. As soon as my sister goes into the kitchen, Natalie picks up my son onto her lap. My sister tells me that she heard her trying to get him to call her Mommy. He usually calls her by a shortened version of her name, which also makes him giggle for some reason. So he said that and he giggled. My sister went to see what they were doing, and according to her, my girlfriend was saying to him, "No, not the name that my son has for her, Mommy," and repeating that again till my son said it. Then she kept on saying, "I'm your mommy, Mommy," and more like that. My sister was alarmed but didn't say anything. He's done that with her too, but she always brought up a picture of his mother to show him. So he stopped calling her that. I have always told him that the angel in the picture is Mommy. It took him time, but he stopped calling anyone else Mommy. I had told my girlfriend about this before, and she had agreed. I had told her that it was important to me that my son know who his real mother was. She said she understood. And now here I am, angry, frustrated, enraged, and feeling a bit betrayed. I don't know how long this has been going on. I haven't said anything about it to her. She knows I'm pissed about something. We have our 1 year together completing in 20 days. I had big plans for that. Now I don't know what to do. You guys got any ideas? Guys, this is not about me moving on from my wife. This is about my son's mother, that's all. I'll talk to her about this. I don't want to break up, but I do want her to know that she has fucked up colossally and that this will set back our relationship. I'll try and be delicate. Also, most replies now are negative and aggressive, so I'll hop off Reddit. So no point posting anymore. There are other people who need your advice. Thanks for the advice you have given me. I promise I will update. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Have you two talked about having more children? Because I feel like Natalie really wants to be a mom. Confront her about this and ask her why she's insistent on your son calling her mommy. Op response. She wants children but wants to finish grad school first. I had told her very seriously about how I really want him to know who his real mother is and that there will be no substitute for her. Not sure how I confront her about the one boundary that I was dead serious about, that she ended up breaking. I know that this isn't coming across as a very serious problem to others, but this was one thing I was really scared about, and it's a terrible betrayal on her front. I'll just end up screaming my head off. I'm really pissed by her doing what she did, and that too behind my back. Commenter 2, try to talk to her about it calmly, ask her if it's true, and explain again to her that you would like for her to be a very important part of his life, but you really don't want him to call her mommy. Do you think she did it for a bad reason, or do you think she was just momentarily misguided in her actions because she cares about you both so much? If you address this with her by attacking her and telling her what her place is, I think it's the end. If you keep it calm and reassure her that she too had an important place in your life, but you feel you owe this one thing to his mother, she will very likely get on your side about it and never do it again. Op response, I'm mad because it was a line crossed. It may have happened before when she was alone too. It is a huge breach of my trust. We agreed on this beforehand, and now she goes and does this behind my back. Her saying to my son, I'm your mommy, that hurt me a lot. Now I feel I can't trust her with my son alone. Update 1, 4 days later. Hey guys, just thought I'd quickly update you on what happened between my girlfriend and me. Basically, I talked to her. She did agree that this had indeed happened. So she didn't deny it, that was a good thing. I asked her why she did it. She gave the reason that she always felt like an extra in my life. She thought that we could be a closer if we tried to be family. I explained to her, in a calm, composed manner, that we can't just pretend to be a family, and that her trying to make a permanent bond with my 4-year-old son, whom she'd known only for 2 months, wasn't quite the way to do it. She cried and apologized. Nevertheless, this was a huge setback in our relationship. It's difficult to look at things the same way after what happened. Our big anniversary surprise is canceled. I'll make up for it sometime later. We are still dating, but she isn't going to meet my son anytime soon. This meant that we'd be spending less nights together, but she understood. I'm also going to see a child therapist to get this, mommy, thing sorted out once, and for all so that my son isn't emotionally affected. For those of you saying that what she did was 100% right, it wasn't. My girlfriend and I are dating. She has known my son only for 2 months. If a mommy bond were to form right now and we were to break up, it'll affect my 4-year-old too. That'll have to wait for marriage, which honestly is something I have mentally pushed back for now. It'll take time to get the trust back with her. Talk to her. We're still dating, but she's not allowed anywhere near my son for some time now. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Glad to hear she realized it was wrong. But are you sure you guys are a good match right now? She seems awfully desperate for something more which you don't sound like you are looking for yet. Op response. I know everyone seems to be suggesting that I break up with her, but I love her. She crossed a big line that she was not supposed to behind my back. I can't ignore that. I know she wants more and I am trying my hardest, but it is difficult when I have a son. She hopefully understands that. Yeah, she might think that I am too much to handle for her. She might break up with me. I can't prevent that. But if she doesn't, she's a keeper. Call it naivete, but I think the reason she gave for doing what she did checked out. It corresponded with a lot of things she had said earlier. But she needs to understand that we can only be a family when we are truly a family, aka a marriage. So that'll have to wait. Right now, trust is the important thing that needs attention. If I can get that back, I don't think we'll have many problems. I am not going to break up with her. Had she denied what she did for 1 second, I would have walked out of there and never looked back. But she accepted her mistake and was ready to face the consequences, a little time away from my son. That's one positive thing at least. Update 2, 5 weeks later. I know all of you guys would be expecting a wonderful update with all of us becoming one big happy family. Sorry, but I got bitch slapped by life. Since a couple of weeks ago, she kept pushing me again and again over visiting my son. I told her no firmly, but she kept on being passive-aggressive. All I wanted was a little more time, but she pushed me to a limit. She said that my son was missing her, he was not, and that I'm doing him a disservice by keeping her out of his life, and that I'm a horrible parent and I can't raise my son alone. We had a big fight over it and we broke up. She broke down and crawled back and apologized, but things were never going to be the same. Life fucking sucks. Final update 1 year later. Hello everyone. Almost a year ago, I came here to talk about my life going upside down. I lost a great girlfriend, someone I thought I could finally trust and allow into my son's life. That did not go well. Anyway, that time of my life was very difficult, but I really got some great perspective from the people on here. So I just wanted to thank you all once again. I feel like I'm in a really good position in my life right now, and everything feels awesome. I've put all the pieces together, and my son and I are really happy. He's doing great and is healthy. So yeah, this was more of a thank you rather than update, but I really mean it. I was really confused, and some of the advice I got on here was instrumental in sorting that mess out. Thanks, Reddit. Take care.
Is planning a color-themed wedding and wants all her guests to wear white. My husband likes black and doesn't even own a white shirt. I don't have a white dress or shoes. I had to tell her that if she does this, we won't be able to attend. We're on fixed incomes and can't afford to buy new clothing and shoes for somebody else's wedding. Her mother is against her plan, too. She thinks it's unfair to require a particular color unless a person is in the wedding party. Friend just snaps that you have a year to save up and thinks I'm being a bad friend. I've called men's rental shops, and we can't find a white suit for rent for less than $75. I'm sure I'll need as much or more for my dress and shoes, and that's on top of shower and wedding presents. I don't think I'm the Ada for this. Update. For all of you who just think I'm fishing for an excuse not to go, that is not true at all. We're on disability and income is a big issue for us. We are still going to send them a nice wedding and shower gift. And that's going to stretch us too, because one place setting of her china and crystal is $150 a pop. This is not something we just don't want to do. Whenever I'm asked to be somebody's bridesmaid, I have to regretfully decline too. Just can't afford a dress, shoes, hair, makeup, manicure, a share of the shower and bachelorette costs and gifts. I was upset when I heard about this because I knew we'd have to decline. We already went to her engagement party and bought a gift for that. There are limits to what we can afford. Believe me, we're disappointed too. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, why wouldn't you find these clothes at a consignment store? This really shouldn't be that hard. Did you even check consignment stores or any other very cheap or free options, gift groups on Facebook, charity, family and friends, Vinted, etc.? Op response. I already buy most of our wardrobe at consignment and eBay. The only white formals I saw at my usual haunts were wedding dresses. She's a longtime friend, but all caught up in Instagram, influencers, and I want my wedding to be unique. She was talking about the bridal party before he even proposed, how much fun we'd all have hanging out together at the Bachelorette Myrtle Beach weekend. By the way, when I told her to please not ask me because I can't afford it. I think part of this is she is still pissed about that. I'd love to, but just can't. She went off on me to her mom, which is how I know her mom disapproves. Her sister called me afterward and apologized to me for both of them. Sis and mom told her it was a bad idea that will cause them to lose guests, and her photos will look like awful if everything is all one color. My husband told me to just look for something for me, and he will just not go. Which will piss her off too. The wedding is next year, so maybe she will come back down to earth by then. Commenter 2. Do you even like your friend? You sound very resentful. If this actually was about money, I'd understand it a little, but your responses are dripping with content. She doesn't need to change her whole plan just because you don't like the idea. That's a ridiculous ask, especially from a so-called friend. Op response. She has undergone a crazy personality change ever since she got engaged. She was talking wedding before he even proposed. The wedding is next year, but she went out and created her wedding registry the same week she got engaged. She had a big engagement party and has planned all sorts of activities for the next year. I am happy for her, but think some of her expectations are unreasonable, like the one-color wedding. She wants her bridesmaids to buy their dresses, which will just hang in the closet for the next year. She's 34 and is pissed because her parents aren't chipping in more for her costs. It's getting out of hand. We are longtime friends, but I think it is her who is losing sight of this. She knows my situation. Update nearly 3 years later. I posted this years ago on the Lower Anatomical Body Part forum. This one won't let me use the name. I'm updating it with the eventual outcome. Friend got engaged and started planning her wedding. She was in her 30s and it was not her first wedding. Before everybody squeals, I do not think it's wrong for a repeat bride to have a big, formal wedding. That is not the issue. What I do feel was that some of her expectations were unreasonable, given her age and the ages and life circumstances of her friends. She got pissed with me right from the start. I declined being a bridesmaid because I'm on disability and didn't think I could afford the dress, a share of the shower and the bachelorette party, plus shower and wedding gifts. I was also afraid my disability would inconvenience her because I have chronic pain, and I never know how I'm going to feel from one day to the next. It makes trying to plan anything a pain in the ass. There was a high chance that I'd let her down on helping with wedding work and going to appointments. I thought she'd understand, but she was majorly pissed. She said I had a year to save up for my wedding attire. I have an opinion on that, but kept it to myself and apologized for disappointing her. She wanted a destination bachelorette party. The bridesmaids and her friends are all married with kids. I don't think it was reasonable to expect us to head off for a week at Myrtle Beach. A weekend, sure, but not an entire week. The expense was another no-go for me. I did what I could to support her. We attended her engagement party and brought a gift which wasn't cheap. Read on. She registered for China, Crystal, the works. I know that's not a faux pas, but she had a full set from her first wedding. She just wanted new stuff. This is where I admit that I might be the lower anatomical blowhole. I feel that asking her friends for such pricey gifts for the second wedding was unfair. Okay, now on for the real big deal. 6 months from the wedding, she decided to ask her guests to dress in all-white formal attire. I told her that if she did that, we wouldn't be able to come. Now, I have cocktail and formal clothing, but not in all white. My husband likes black and doesn't even own a white shirt. That meant a new suit and shoes for him, a new evening gown for me. If I could afford this, I could have been her bridesmaid. I did make an effort, though. I called men's formal wear shops, and renting a white suit for him would cost around $75. I looked at consignment stores for an evening gown, and the only all-white long dresses were wedding gowns. Her mom and sister tried to talk her out of this. Her mom thought, and I agree, that requiring a particular color isn't a fair ask unless a person is in the wedding party. My husband said he'd just stay home and let me go. I sew, and making a simple long dress wouldn't bust our budget. My friend the bride told me I was a shitty friend, not to bother, and ended our friendship. I'm still friends with her mother and sister. Her mother was mortified about this and apologized. Of course it's not their fault. Her sister told me her wedding photos look like disembodied heads floating in a white sea. I don't have issues with her wedding her rules, but brides should be prepared to get declines if her rules result in impractical expenses to her guests. She ended our entire friendship over it. All the years meant nothing against one day of it. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. These stories where the friendship ends over the wedding, were there no signs of these people being shitty friends before? Do some PPL really lose all sensibilities when it comes to weddings? Op response. She's always been a bit of a diva, and I am quite a bit older than she is, but she's never acted this self-centered. She was a great friend, the kind who organizes birthday parties for people and such. At first I put the bridezilla behavior down to her, having had such a bad first marriage. Maybe Pinterest and white lace poisoned her mind. Commenter 2, was her husband in a white suit too? Maybe he could wear it when he divorces her. Because, in the words of good Charlotte, I rock a lawsuit when I'm going to court, a white suit when I'm getting divorced, a black suit at the funeral home and my birthday suit when I'm home alone. Lie, I'm pretty fucking angry, and I'm basically only here for a whinge and a moan. If a mellowed-out soul wants to give me some advice, that might be helpful though, because I currently want nothing more than to punt the bastard off a cliff. I'm 27 and he's 33. Together 4 years. We have artsy hobbies and we usually like to make each other a handmade gift for Christmas. We usually enjoy it, but honestly this last year he is constantly at my house leaving his ball hair under my toilet seat, winging about Boris Johnson, and doing my sweet in. I saw an advert for Dogs Trust about how Milo the Doberman is going to spend Christmas alone this year, and I'm jealous of the fucker. Anyway, I sew as a hobby. For Christmas, I thought it would be nice to make my boyfriend a blazer. He asked for one for his birthday, but I couldn't get fabric for his birthday this year. I've made blazers before, but the materials I bought this time were not cheap, so to make sure I knew what I was doing, I got some of the leftover fabric from my last project and made a mock-up prototype to make sure it was right. For the last 3 days have been sewing about 80 different tiny little incisable pockets and invisible seams and buttonholes. But now I've got a pretty decent mock-up of what I want the real blazer to look like. I just wanted to check it fits him properly, so I asked him to take 10 minutes to try it on so I could make sure. I don't know what his problem is, but he decided that instead of trying it on so I can check it fits like I asked, he would start a row with me. A row because the fabric I made the trial blazer out of has flowers on it, and was at some point in the week pinned to my mannequin, who is a woman. He won't put it on. He's telling me he won't put it on, even though he knows I'm the only one who's gonna see it. I wish I was joking. Actually, no I don't, because the girls and I are all having a right giggle about it. I don't know what he wants. But if he thinks that after I've spent 200 pounds on materials to make this fucking blazer, I'm gonna trot my arse down to the craft shop to spend another tenner on a roll of plain fabric, because he wants a mock-up that doesn't have flowers on it, he can get on his bike and ride it to Timbuktu. I mean it. He's been playing up like a fucking imbecile for weeks now. I'm sick of his bullshit. I'm not going to coddle him and pretend that what he's asking for is reasonable. I've talked to my therapist about this, and he talked about reasonable ways to resolve this conflict. Currently I have come up with, shag his dad, and then go on the Jeremy Kyle show to tell him. Make him sleep in the car, and then have the car towed off the pier. Give him a card and a Snickers bar for Christmas, wait for him to complain, then chuck his clothes out the upstairs window while the neighbors watch. I'm open to more suggestions if you can think of anything better. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, I am laughing my arse off at your possible solutions. They all sound reasonable to me. All I can think of is to shelve the whole thing for now and ask him calmly, possibly after preemptive self-medication to enable calm, if he wants a blazer or not. If he does, he tries this one on. If not, he owes you an apology for wasting your time. What does he think will happen if he tries on a flowered mock-up? His dick will fall off. You can fix that. Op response. Appreciated, the therapist didn't agree. Though I can fix that, I think no penis suits him better. Commenter 2. You should finish up the flowered blazer without a fitting and give it to him for Christmas too. Maybe add some lace. And bows, op response. I do like that idea. Tell him I knew it was inappropriate to ask him to wear something like that without a matching clutch bag. Commenter 3. Don't do this. Don't lean into the toxic masculinity. It's not girly to like flowers, and he doesn't have a vagina just because he's being an asshole. Op response. Absence of a penis does not a vagina make my friend. However, you are right. Just because he's being a dildo, I shouldn't play up to it. But I'm mad, so I'm gonna shred his masculinity in the anonymous comments. Commenter 4. Knitters have this boyfriend sweater curse. Apart from the fact that your boyfriend exhibits some ridiculously fragile masculinity here, that curse says after you knit an especially nice and work-intensive sweater for your, in this scenario, boyfriend, the relationship falls apart. I saw a TikTok, yes about it, that made a good point. It's not the sweater, it's investing so much love and time and labor, and then feeling the resentment when you see it on a person that doesn't value any from that from you, and would never invest that much for you, and you know it. In a good relationship, you just made your spouse a sweater. In a bad relationship, it brings out what is wrong, for example investment disbalances, or a fragile ego, or whatever. Maybe you found the sewing equivalent, the blazer curse, and the sewing magic is trying to tell you something. Update 1. His stuff is packed and by the door. It's up to him when to come and get it. He knew I was a cold bitch when he got with me. I didn't know he was a man-child until I had to lock myself in a house with him. I think I deserve some slack.
Sure if this is the right place for this. Please forgive the long post. My 28M fiancée 28F has always been very controlling. She gets upset when I don't do things exactly right and often contradicts herself. She wants me to go out and be more social, but will call and yell at me when I do. She wants me off my phone, but sits there on hers. She wants me to go to the gym, but complains when I'm there too long. Honestly, I've been pretty love-struck, so I didn't really pick up on these things until everything fell apart. She has a bit of a drinking problem. Not that she drinks constantly, but when she does, she doesn't know her limit. With wedding planning and my busy work schedule to pay for the wedding, she tends to go out on weekends with her girlfriends since I'm home late anyway and she enjoys it, so she deserves to unwind after a busy week. We typically do lunches and overnight trips when my schedule will allow it. And when I'm off in the evenings, we make dinner together to connect. She's nitpicked before, but I kind of wrote it off as her personality and always adjusted. X. She didn't want me running the washer-dryer so much, so I went from twice to once a week. I work 2 jobs and one is construction, so my clothes get dirty fast. She thought I had too much clothes even though we each have the same storage space, so I donated the clothes she didn't like. She didn't like when I cooked late coming home from my second job, event staff, so I would pick something up on the way home. I felt like this was regular couple stuff. All in all, she's been excited about the wedding and our new apartment, so I thought everything was good. Long story short, a few weeks ago she came home hammered, which is nothing new, but she got outright mean. I wrote it off as just being drunk. Sometimes she playfully teases me when she's drinking. But when she sobered up, she was still really mean. Her controlling attitude escalated until she was pretty much unbearable, and she ended up telling me she deserved better and that she wanted to start over and I needed to leave. She started listing all these weird faults. I don't get along with her friends who I have never met because they don't live in our country. I don't make an effort with her family. I'm very close to her brother. We game often together, and we have dinner with her parents once a month, and that I'm too dependent on her. I do tend to put her first a lot, but I kind of thought that was normal. Then she basically told me to leave. I gave her some space and slept at my brother's a few nights, asking how he thought I should fix this. And it was then that he pointed out that she is kind of abusive, so maybe this was a good thing. I don't know, she's still the love of my life, and I can't wrap my head around all this. After a few nights, I went back because I needed more clothes, but also because I wanted to see if we could talk things out. She flat out refused and said her friends all agreed. My issue now is she is downright hostile. She is nice every so often when she wants something, but other than that, she is short, cold, often annoyed. She basically said we're done and she's keeping the apartment, and I need to figure it out. Then radio silence for a month outside of a few drunk, I miss you, texts while I couch hopped. The last time I went over to grab clothes, she kissed me and basically said she wished things could be different and talked about the proposal, and all the little things we've done together. So I tried to talk it out again, but she got super angry and kicked me out again. Now she is telling me I need to pay half the rent because I'm on the lease. I spoke to the landlord about potentially removing me from the lease, but he said she has to agree and she's refusing. She's refusing to agree to sign the lease over to someone else. What can I even do here? My brother pointed out that since I'm on the lease, she can't keep me from staying there, but the apartment is small. Being practically on top of one another, I can't see how it will work with her behavior. She's refusing to even be civil. I asked her to reconsider finding a new tenant, and she basically says she doesn't see why she should have to move just because I couldn't change. My brother said I could make a case for abuse to get off the lease, but I don't want to do that to her. She can be mean, but she's a nice person and we've been together for 6 years. I just feel like that's a step too far. My mother agrees. I honestly don't think this is abuse. Is this abuse? They're really pushing that I go forward with this, especially after my brother read some texts. But I feel like if I end the tenancy citing abuse, that's dishonest and could further upset her. Update. Things have kind of snowballed out of control. A day or so after I made the first post, my brother sat me down and kind of discussed a game plan with me. The first thing he told me to do was take the money I had put in a joint account meant for our wedding out, since she had access to that. And she was pretty pissed at me. Not sure why, since she ended things, and I only recently found out it was because she cheated. I had been saving for over a year, sometimes putting in as much as $600 a month, and I also put my Christmas bonus in there. I don't know what I expected to happen after I did that, but things escalated pretty quickly after that. I had screenshots of how out of control the texts got, but it won't let me add them to this post. The long and short of it was she was upset that I all but emptied the account, only leaving what she had contributed. She had only put a couple thousand in because toward the beginning of planning, she decided I should be the one to pay for the bulk of the wedding. Looking back now, I can't believe I agreed. Her argument was that I should have kept all my money in the account to pay for my portion of the rent, and that I had stolen from her. She kept calling me a thief, even when I showed her a screenshot of my banking transfers into the account, and that I only transferred out that exact amount. She only got more upset because I refused to talk to her in person or answer the phone so I could have everything we discussed in texts. She had her dad call me basically telling me to do the right thing, which just meant to give her all the money I'd saved since it was, for her anyways. When I refused, she started calling my mother almost non-stop. She would start calling her around 9 p.m. and sometimes wouldn't stop until 1 a.m. At first, I told my mom to block her number, but my brother said to just put it on silent so we had a record of how often she was calling. One night she called my mom 36 times. My mother has been having some health issues since my father passed in June, so my sister has been living with her, and the calls obviously made my sister upset, and it's a whole thing now. My sister ended up filing a harassment report with the police, and we're hoping that will help me get off the lease if we can prove she's being abusive. She also called both my ex and her father and told them if they had anything to say, it would go through her. I filled out an N-15 form, but the officer I spoke to about the harassment didn't seem convinced it would be approved because he wouldn't classify this as domestic abuse. I guess I'll just have to cross my fingers and hope for the best. All this definitely showed me who she is. I didn't think I could fall out of love with someone so quickly. Thanks for all the replies to my initial post.